everyone, Sergeant Urquhart here, and today we are going to be reacting Epic History's series on the Napoleonic Wars. The first thing I noticed is that there's 19 videos in this series, so we're gonna skip over, just a couple. So yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal, but y'all really seem to like me reacting to Epic History, and someone in my comments actually suggested for me to actually watch this series. So yeah, thank you. And without further ado, let's get started.
TV is
Whoops.
an Epic History TV History March collaboration, supported by our sponsor, Osprey Publishing.
Cool. Okay, great. There was an ad, so I had to skip it. It was in 2 on the right edition.
In the summer of 1793, the French Revolution was entering its 4th year. France was on the verge of anarchy.
That is
In
not
Paris, political extremists had seized control of the revolution.
good. Dang, look at him. Wow, look at the guy in the middle.
They guillotined the king. Revolution.
The guy on the right almost looks like that guy from, like, Kylo Ren from the new Star Wars movies.
They guillotined the king and imposed a reign of terror that dealt summary justice to all suspected enemies of the revolution. Hoping to unify the new republic, France's leaders had declared war on the Habsburg Empire. But the conflict quickly widened, and soon France was facing the combined might of Europe's leading powers.
Yeah, these countries did not like the fact that France had become a republic. They really wanted them to be a monarchy, because everyone else in Europe basically was.
Determined to stamp out a dangerous political experiment.
Dangerous political experiment? Wow. America seems to be doing fine. They're also democracies. What do you mean dangerous?
Meanwhile, whole regions of France had come out in open revolt, horrified by the new extremism of the revolution. In August, the Republic suffered a further, potentially fatal blow when the city of Toulon joined the revolt.
Why is that
Toulon
fatal?
was France's largest and most important naval base in the south, home to a third of the entire French Navy.
Wow.
But now, rebels welcomed their old enemy, the British Royal Navy, into the port, led by Admiral Lord Hood, aboard HMS Victory. It was an extraordinary coup. Without a shot being fired, the Allies had crippled French naval power in the Mediterranean and gained a vital toehold on the French coast. All French forces in the area were immediately diverted to face this new threat.
Whenever you look at this, like, maps like this, it's just like, how are they able to do that? How are they able to win? Like, if you look at a map of the world in 1939, Germany and Italy, and I guess Japan, and their puppets against, like, all these other huge nations. It just looks impossible. And same thing here. Just so interesting.
And lay siege to the rebel port. 19,000 troops in all. But since most French officers had been aristocrats who were now fleeing the revolution in large numbers, they were seriously short of professional leadership. Their commander, General Jean-François Carteau, was a loyal Republican, but a court painter by trade with no military training. To make matters worse, one of his few professional.
What does Republican mean? Like in this context, though? Because, I live in America, and Republican is like a conservative, like, political party. But I know, like, Republican is supposed to mean something completely different.
Officers, his artillery commander, Colonel Don Martin, had been badly wounded on the approach to Toulon. Antoine Salicetti, a Corsican deputy of the National Convention in Paris, recommended as his replacement a fellow countryman, a 24-year-old artillery officer who was passing Toulon en route to the front,
Who is it?
named Napoleon Bonaparte.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Bonaparte.
There
Bonaparte
he is.
was a professional soldier.
Wow, he looks completely different.
But he'd seen almost no active service.
Also, I want to make it completely clear that Napoleon was not short. Like, I keep hearing these very ridiculous memes. Ha 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 ha. Napoleon is big, small. But no, he's not. He was actually about average height. I think they just use a different height system, and that's why. I think that's where the joke comes from.
Nevertheless, Salicetti was impressed by his manner, and most of all, his politics. Bonaparte had just written a political pamphlet, a short story about a young artillery officer who berates his fellow diners for their disloyalty to the Republic.
Wow.
General Carteau thought it wise to accept Deputy Salicetti's recommendation.
One can remain 24 minutes or 36 hours without eating, but one can remain 3 minutes without gunpowder. Wow. That is interesting. That's an interesting quote.
The great port of Toulon was well defended by city walls, and a dozen outlying forts and redoubts.
Dang.
They were held by 2,000 British soldiers and sailors, 6,000 Spanish troops, 6,000 Neapolitans, and 800 Sardinians.
Jeez.
Artillery
They are
would be the
really
key to overcoming
wow.
these formidable defenses.
They're really going. They're really willing to defend that.
But when Bonaparte was put in command of the artillery on the 16th of September, he found himself with few cannon, not enough trained gun crews, and a shortage of gunpowder and shot.
Oh no.
With relentless energy and determination, Bonaparte transformed the situation, requisitioning unused guns, training infantrymen to work them, setting up a new forge and workshop, and arranging transport from Marseille of 100,000 sandbags for constructing new batteries. Through hard work, he was ultimately able to build his force up to 64 officers and 1,500 men, manning 100 cannon, howitzers, and mortars.
Wow.
Within days, Bonaparte had established 2 new forward batteries with good revolutionary names, La Montagne and Sans Culottes.
I have no idea what those words even mean, but they sound pretty cool.
Which brought Toulon's inner harbour within range, and forced Admiral Hood to move all his ships closer to the port. Bonaparte also came up with a plan, one that would allow the French to bypass most of Toulon's defences and secure the rapid victory the Republic so desperately needed. Bonaparte argued that if Fort Leguillet could be captured, which looked out across the harbour, he could fill it with heavy guns and shell the British and Spanish fleet at anchor.
Yeah, that is a great position to have. Like, you can... Like, you have so much, like, area to, shoot at this... At over there. Like, you have... Wow, but... Seems like they would be really vulnerable at the same time. Like, to opposing artillery. Like, if you look at it.
Admiral Hood would be forced to abandon the port and take with him the Allied soldiers that Toulon relied on for its defense.
Wow.
General Carteau saw the merits of Bonaparte's plan, and on the 22nd of September, French forces attacked Montcaire. But to Bonaparte's exasperation, while he'd argued for an attack by 3,000 men, the indecisive Carteau committed only 400.
Oh my gosh.
Not only was the attack easily repulsed, but it alerted the Allies to the danger.
Oh
Within 48
no.
hours, they'd reinforced Montcaire with thousands more troops
No.
and built a new fort named Fort Mulgrave, bristling with 20 cannon.
Shoot.
The position was now so strong, the French nicknamed it Little Gibraltar.
By the way, if y'all don't know, Gibraltar is like a tiny part of Iberia, which is like where Spain and Portugal is, that little area. Um, where Britain has like a tiny, tiny little area, like right at the very bottom of Iberia.
Finally, in mid-November, an experienced professional soldier arrived to take command of French forces, General Dugommier. He saw at once that Bonaparte's plan was the only way to take Toulon, and
So
gave
what
it
are
his
they
full
gonna do?
backing. Bonaparte, promoted to major, got to work, overseeing construction of several more batteries in preparation for the decisive assault. One forward battery was so exposed to enemy fire that men refused to be sent there.
Wow.
So Bonaparte renamed it La Batterie des Hommes Sans Peur, the battery of men without fear. And suddenly, there was no shortage of volunteers.
Really, that
It
is
was an early
interesting.
display of Napoleon's genius for inspiring his soldiers,
Wow.
one that would serve him well in the years ahead. On the 30th of November,
That's
the Allied
weird.
Land Forces commander, British General Charles O'Hara, tried to seize back the initiative, leading an assault on the new French batteries facing Fort Malbousquet. At first, the attack was successful. The batteries were overrun, French guns spiked. But a counterattack in much greater numbers, and led in person by General Dugommier and Major Bonaparte, drove back the Allies.
Wow.
General O'Hara himself was shot through the hand and captured.
Wow.
12
Good
years
for them.
before, he'd surrendered to George Washington at Yorktown during the American War of Independence.
Really?
Now, he
That
got
is
to
cool.
surrender to Napoleon Bonaparte.
Look at that guy's smile. That's funny. Among those who most distinguished themselves and who gave me most help in rallying the men and leading them forward were Citizen Bonaparte, commandant of the artillery. By the way, I do have French accent, so if I read some of these quotes, I'm going to completely butcher them.
In the early hours of the 18th of December, howling wind and driving rain, the French launched a major assault on Fort Mulgrave.
Yeah.
The wet conditions made muskets useless except as clubs or with bayonets. Bonaparte led the second wave in person.
Thanks. Wow.
Amid fierce hand-to-hand fighting, his horse was killed under him, and he was
Hand-to-hand
bayoneted
fighting.
in the thigh by a British sergeant, a wound that came within inches of ending his life and radically changing the course of history.
Wow. I thought it said the muskets were useless. Why are they able to shoot him?
Finally, the Allied garrison was overwhelmed. Mulgrave fell to the French.
Wow.
Fort L'Aiguillette and Tour de la Balaquière were soon also in French hands.
They must be panicking a lot now.
the French had 10 heavy guns in Leguilette, placing the Allied ships within range.
Oh no.
Admiral Hood could not expose his valuable ships of the line to such a threat. He had no option but to order an immediate evacuation of the fleet and garrison from Toulon.
Chase after them.
Small Spanish and British teams
Get 'em.
raced to destroy all the French ships and naval stores that they couldn't take with them. But amid the chaos of their...
Another thing that's interesting is that there was like so many wars that happened that some of the sides like just so many countries just sort of flip-flopped to their allegiances. Like obviously over time and with all sort of stuff. Like for example with Russia, they were with Napoleon and then they were against Napoleon. No. They were against Napoleon and then they were with Napoleon and then they were against Napoleon again. And then Spain, they were against Napoleon right now, and then later on they're with Napoleon until Napoleon invades them to get to Portugal. So yeah, it's all really interesting, and I'm sure there's more examples like with Prussia, but they were invaded by Napoleon, so I guess it doesn't really count. Just really cool.
At departure, 18 ships of the line were allowed to fall back into French hands. A badly missed opportunity.
Wow.
Many French citizens of Toulon were desperate to escape aboard the Allied ships, knowing that the Republicans would inflict terrible reprisals on the city. British and Spanish ships took as many as they could, about 14,000 in all, but scores were drowned amid chaotic and desperate scenes.
Wow.
Others were left to face the wrath of the revolution. Republican troops entered the city the next morning, and executions and firing squads began almost immediately. For the next 2 weeks, about 200 were executed every day.
Jeez, you don't need a cannon to kill those people. Wow.
By propaganda, later blamed Bonaparte for the atrocities, but there's no evidence he was directly involved.
And all this because a fort was taken. My predictions were exactly fulfilled. Such is the history of this event, which is so greatly astonishing that it's never been well understood.
France's young republic was now fighting back on all fronts. And with the fall of Toulon, the Allies had lost a golden opportunity, a chance to stir up further revolt, deal a lasting blow to French naval power, perhaps even overturn the revolution. But instead, the French Republic had weathered one of its greatest storms, in no small part thanks to the remarkable judgment, energy, and courage of one 24-year-old artillery officer, now promoted Brigadier General in recognition of his extraordinary service at Toulon.
That is cool.
Napoleon Bonaparte had taken his first step on the path to greatness. And for
Good
Europe,
job.
21 years of almost constant war awaited. And for Europe, 21 years of almost constant war awaited.
Wow. That is a long time. It was like from 1793 all the way to 1815. That is insane.
Our sponsor, Osprey Publishing.
Oh, that was the video. Okay. Well, thank you all for watching. That was a pretty neat episode. The battle that made Napoleon. Oh, hello. I had no idea where I left off because I had just left because a package came in. So yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but goodbye. Hello everyone, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. And, turn on the notification bell thingy. And if you didn't, then make sure to leave a thumbs down. But yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, go ahead and watch my other videos. They're probably just as good, and if not better than this one right now. Except for my oldest videos, don't watch those. And, subscribe to these people down here, my fellow sergeants. They're other YouTubers that I either know or I have in high regards. Yeah, even my cat agrees. So, thank you for watching, and have a great day.